Simon Wiesenthal, of blessed memory, a Holocaust survivor who dedicated his life to documenting the crimes of the Holocaust and bringing Nazis to justice, tells of a moment during his imprisonment in Janowska concentration camp. One afternoon, he was summoned to the bedside of a dying Nazi soldier. The soldier confessed to Wiesenthal that he had taken part in unimaginable atrocities. He described one incident that haunted him most. He and his unit had set fire to a house filled with 300 Jews. As the terrified men, women, and children leapt from the burning windows, he and the others gunned them down. Now, lying broken and near death, the Nazi wanted release, and he begged Wiesenthal, obviously a Jew, for forgiveness. Wiesenthal listened in silence. He could have taken a risk and screamed at the man. He could have spat in his face. He could have offered the absolution the Nazi craved. But instead, Wiesenthal quietly turned and walked away. And the next day, the Nazi died. For the rest of his life, Simon Wiesenthal wrestled with that moment, torturing himself as he wondered, did I do the right thing? But his instinct was clear. When lives are destroyed and stolen, forgiveness is not ours to give. Wiesenthal could not speak on behalf of the slaughtered. And why should he? Silence was his truth. Silence was, at least for me, the perfect response. But there's another story. In 2006, in Nickel Mines, Pennsylvania, a gunman stormed an Amish schoolhouse and shot 10 young girls, killing 5, before turning the weapon on himself. A severely injured survivor of this shooting died just last year. Within hours of the attack, members of the Amish community did something that the world could hardly comprehend. They went to the gunman's widow. They embraced her. They comforted her. And like, whether or not you agree with her or not, Erica Kirk, who has forgiven her husband's killer, the Amish forgave the gunman, and they attended his funeral. Now, some called their actions naive. Others called it holy. Whatever you might think, the Amish refused to give in to hate. For them, forgiveness was not a denial of the pain or the horror. It was a way to keep the pain and horror from owning them. So by responding with love, they found a way that kept evil from having the last word. 2 stories, 2 truths. Wiesenthal's silence and the Amish community's forgiveness. Polar opposites, both with deep moral weight, and both in different ways, interestingly, finding support in Jewish tradition. We're taught that real tshuva, the act of repentance we're expected to engage in during these high holy days, atones for sins between us and God. But for sins against another human being, we must seek out those we have wronged and ask for forgiveness. It is only the victim who can forgive. And again, this was Wiesenthal's truth. Another Holocaust survivor, Elie Wiesel, of blessed memory, said it plainly. I have no right to forgive the killers for having exterminated 6 million of my kinsmen. Only the dead can forgive, and no one has the right to speak on their behalf. Yet our tradition teaches that the world is sustained by important values like love and compassion and forgiveness. These values defined the Amish truth, and they echo in the famous story of Joseph, who manages to forgive and embrace his brothers after they cast him into a pit and sold him into slavery. Now, there's a really important distinction between Joseph and the Amish community. For the Amish, forgiveness was offered unconditionally. Joseph's forgiveness comes only after he sees that his brothers have done real tshuva, that they have grown and shown themselves capable of turning from their immoral ways. As the victim of their wrongdoing, Joseph held the power either to forgive them or to turn them away. By choosing forgiveness, Joseph displayed remarkable graciousness, living one of the 13 attributes of God that we chant tomorrow morning. I admire Joseph's decision to let go of the past and move forward with his brothers, and I try to practice that same release and renewal with those who, like Joseph's brothers, have turned and done tshuva. But I confess, I could never forgive a Nazi. Given what we're living through, obviously, I could never forgive Hamas nor anyone who promotes their ideology. I had a beloved great aunt who was murdered in New York City, and I could never forgive her murderer. Not only because it's not my right, but because forgiving such wickedness, for me, would destroy the very idea of morality and in some way condone evil. And yet, I stand in awe of those who, in their own personal devastation, find the strength to forgive those who many of us might see as unforgivable. Their forgiveness does not erase the crime. It does not erase the pain. But for some, it can transform the future, releasing poison from the victim, allowing them to claim some control of their trauma and move forward with living. For most of us, those who will seek our forgiveness have hurt us in far less severe ways, like murder. And if others, even in the face of unthinkable harm, can find a way to forgive, then perhaps we too can explore the possibility of opening our hearts when those who hurt us come with genuine remorse. So here's the challenge as we enter 5786. Something many of us have wrestled with together in our online Elul project. When wronged, will we choose the powerful, holy silence of truth? Or the radical courage of forgiveness? Or perhaps we'll find a sacred path somewhere in between. And the great thing is that Judaism gives us these choices. What it does not give us is the luxury of apathy. As the new year begins, we can't run. If we're asked to forgive, we have to figure out what our answer is. Otherwise, we become one who has done wrong. We must choose. For in choosing, we reveal our truth. Free ourselves from the weight of another's wrongdoing, begin the work of healing, and remind both ourselves and those who harmed us what it means to be holy. Like Wiesenthal, sometimes the response will be silence. Silence that speaks the bitter truth. Like the Amish, sometimes the response will be forgiveness. Forgiveness that refuses to let hatred have the last word. And like Joseph, sometimes the response will be reconciliation. Healing that transforms a broken family and maybe even a broken world. As 5786 begins, and we do the work of tshuva, choices will stand before us. The only choice denied us is indifference. So we must choose. For in choosing, we reveal our truth. In choosing, we begin to heal. In choosing, we remind ourselves and those who have wronged us what it means to be sacred. And we must choose. As we do so, may wisdom, justice, and compassion guide us to respond with the strength of our personal truth. Shana Tova.